Hey guys, today with the topic, does the hope of X back after the separation any sense? With me at the time, I would have said yes quite clearly. That was never in question. I have thereby at the same time motivation to work on me, to plan my day through, to allow me hardly breaks, also not to pay attention to her. Because it wouldn't have done me any good to look at them and wish for day X to come quickly. I knew I wasn't there yet, and every day I got better. I had her slightly out of my sight, knew she was out there, and without her interest in me she was of no use to me at all, while it made me feel better and better. But at the same time I was and am not afraid of her never contacting me again. Same argument. It would be a waste of time if she got in touch without interest, and it would end up making me feel a little worse again as a result if we tried and it didn't work out. Therefore, actually, after a short time in no contact, it was no longer an option for her to just get in touch. I was eventually able to block that out, even though I knew how nice it could be with her. But just that middle ground between I'm not ready and she may never get back to me, and that's okay, I had that. And that's the attitude I went into my videos with at the time. I still see that as the best way to go. It's just that some people don't get it right because of their own bad experiences. They don't hit this point and permanently swing back and forth in extremes. She will never get in touch again, why should she, or what's the point if I change now? It only depends on her. This can happen, for example, because an ex has never contacted them and they themselves don't really waste any thought on their exes, or it seems that way to them because this ex has left such a big hole in them. I don't even think I have a video on this yet. I would have to watch it. So briefly thrown in, it feels like 90% of exes get back in touch. Even if you didn't make a perfect exit and made the separation as easy as possible for them. The longer you went on their nerves and begged and cried, or did really bad shit, like not respecting their privacy, the lower the chance of it, of course, but everything up to 1 or 2 weeks later and from talking on the phone to writing messages I would not see as an exclusion criterion. I sometimes hear stories where I think to myself, you can totally forget that, don't even think about X back, and then again some where you get so down, although that was a really good exit and you are in a great position. Therefore, your own assessment is sometimes the reason why you feel bad and not your own action. You can draw a lot of strength from it, if you know exactly and are convinced to be on the right way. If you are clear that it is now largely up to you and you are not so helpless. That you are not dependent on her getting in touch. I also hear very often, it's all up to her, I can't do anything. Yes, you can't do anything about her. If she would get in touch, if you still have such an attitude, then there is also nothing up to her. Then you would not be able to do anything with her message, because your neediness would shine through again. Probably you would just be doing reasonably well again and you would get along, and then a text message from her, which you could not even assess, would upset you so much that you no longer know where up and down is. And in the end she just wanted her stuff back, but you made a big deal out of it and ruined your chance by not differentiating between organizational and emotionally invested messages. Not because you didn't know, but because you were so carried away by the moment. In that case, I think hoping for X back is even dangerous for your own well-being, self-worth, and chances there of quickly becoming your best possible self. But where do you make the cut now? I mean, it took me a month and a half to get away from her and something pretty good came out of it. Do we have to deny you all hope now, just because you need longer to get a grip on yourself? That depends on the individual case, and I honestly prefer to give hope than to say forget it. Among other things because I myself could never say 100% that the chance is not there. Where I can intervene are toxic relationships, which one does not recognize as such. There it is easy to say, forget it and demand more if it should come again. Or let some time come in between so that she has the chance to change some things about herself while you get into a position where you realize how much better you can have it. I have your welfare in mind and not that of your relationship. Because you see this in most cases as inflated and better than it really was. But this is because you have been abandoned, your self-worth is fucked and you can't see clearly how it really was in the end or overall. Bring yourselves once again on a level with it, then you see much of it quite neutrally. It is normal not to feel able to do that at the very beginning. You'd have to be a few steps further along for that. And just for this reason I don't want to deny anyone the hope, if he knows the real facts to this. Inwardly you cannot change anything about your feelings and sensations so early afterwards anyway. You can actively filter which ones are useful to you, which ones you can address yourself and which thoughts keep coming back, but from which you have already extracted all useful information. This changes with time and your will to improve yourself as much as possible and to acquire all the knowledge about it. But you don't need to hope that she will contact you tomorrow. That is in vain anyway. It would bring you nothing from your current position or back to the old relationship in which she was so unhappy that she broke up with you. Why would it be any different next time? You can't improve fast enough and be more meaningful in it. The hope that will do you some good is this thinking: it's no good now, maybe someday, but not now. In the meantime, paying attention to them only drags you down. Whether you continue to cling to her, can't let go, or she finds a new one, with whom it can be over just as quickly, you can't intervene with her and your attachment to her is there anyway. Therefore, she is not out of the world, she has to go her way to be able to reflect herself and to recognize and tackle her own problems. Should your paths cross, you have to see if that was the case, and until then make yourself a version of you that is strong and good enough to expect some things from her. It's not about necessarily becoming better than her or overtaking her in anything. It's about yourself and becoming your best possible version. You can never exactly compare yourself to another person anyway, and only what you can create and the quality of the relationships you can attract and create with it is important. Only when you have developed something about yourself, you will also be able to expect this from her for a joint future relationship, and only then this will also become an relationship 2.0. If she is not, you may do all the work and she sits in the maid nest, expects and gives instructions. Simply because she can. And put yourself in her position, would you be different? Inside you know, as the ex who broke up with you, that there was this and that problem at the time. Don't you pay more attention to it when you give her another chance? Isn't it up to her if you try again? It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to carry the whole relationship for both of you. That's probably how you got to the loss of attraction in the first relationship in the first place. Far out, so hope for X back. Only if after some time you are able to differentiate if you are doing wishful thinking or if you know exactly that she has to do something and that needs time. Time that you cannot determine, know, or predict 100%. Therefore let her go. Holding on to her does not bring you further. On the contrary, it limits you. And if this is not given, make up your ex back directly, because then you might get out of there faster. Take care, and until the next video.